Bert at home.
What do you want him for, officer?
This ain't easy for me, sir, but I've come to arrest him for failing to answer the summons to join the non-combatant corps.
Of course I don't answer the summons. I haven't agreed to be in any part of the army.
What?
So they arrest me, and I'm taken to Richmond Castle. I'm pretty sure I would have applied for exemption under the conscience clause, but if it hadn't been granted to me, would I have thrown away the summons?
Right, Private Brocklesby. Here's a bucket of potatoes and a knife. Now get peeling.
May I ask who they're for?
Beg pardon?
The potatoes. Who are they for?
They're for the officers and soldiers. Who do you think they're for?
Then I can't peel them, I'm afraid. I'll peel potatoes for conscientious objectors, but not for officers and soldiers.
We're not asking you to kill anybody, Brocklesby. We're asking you to get our supper ready.
I'm sorry, but I can't do that.
Well, let's see if 3 days solitary confinement on bread and water will help change that mind.
I didn't raise my boy to be a soldier. I brought him up to be my pride and joy. Who dares to place a musket on his shoulder to shoot some other man?
My cell in Richmond Castle is about 9 feet long, by 6 feet wide, with just a narrow window giving little light. But in the bottom corner of one of the walls, I notice a hole where heating pipes must have once run. I go to take a closer look, and I find a face staring back at me. What are you doing there? Impersonating a mouse. What do you think? I'm Norman Gordy, Bert Brocklesby. Do you fancy some bacon, Norman? Bacon? You've got some bacon? I smuggled some in beneath my belt. Oh man, that's a beautiful sight. And do you fancy a game of chess? I do, but last time I played, you needed a board and pieces. Well, what do you think this is? Scotch mist? Oh man, bacon, chess, is it Christmas Day? And so we pass our moves on the pocket chessboard, back and forth, through the hole, as well as our opinions on how far we should carry our disobedience. Don't know why you're wearing uniform, man. You won't catch me wearing it. Why not? We have to wear something. It's a symbol, Bert. If you wear uniform, you're saying you're part of the army. You're part of the war. I don't agree. Isn't it what we do that matters? Whatever they say, whatever orders they give, refuse them all.
Right, you lot. Out for drill.
I'm sorry, Sergeant. I haven't agreed to be part of the army.
Well, you are part of the army, Brocklesby, and you will do drill. Out! Right, Brocklesby. 10 knee bends. 1, 2. I said 10 knee bends. 1. Corporal, put Private Brocklesby in the correct position, will you? Now, step away, Corporal. Oh, very funny, Brocklesby. Now get up. I said, get up.
Sergeant! Stand aside.
Yes, sir.
On your feet. Now listen here, Private Brocklesby. The fact is you've been refused exemption and have been assigned to the non-combatant corps. And therefore you must obey orders. But none of these orders will involve you in compromising your conscience. You won't be involved in any combat. I mean, don't you think it's rather perverse? You refusing to peel potatoes or do a few knee bends, while on the other side of the English Channel your fellow countrymen are sacrificing their lives or receiving horrific injuries. Now get back to your cell. Well, we didn't peel spuds. We didn't do drill. Feels like we've won the first hurdle.
They should be taken outside and shot like dogs.
May 22nd. I'm drawing a picture of my fiancée, Annie, with a piece of charcoal I smuggled in. It's 2 months now since we parted outside West Riding Police Court. Bert, I can't bear this. Seeing my brother Gilbert off, I thought my heart would break. But having to say goodbye to you too. Courage, my love. I can't bear how everything's changed. I know. Conisbrough feels like an alien town, all geared up for war. Hardly recognise it. I'm going to miss singing for you in the choir. I'm going to miss hearing you.
Mr. Brocklesby, I have to ask you to come with me now.
Bert, you won't be shot, will you? Shot? Of course I won't be shot, love.
Mr. Brocklesby.
Disobedience is only punishable by shooting if it happens on active service. In France. Oh, God. Please don't let them shoot you, Bert. Please. Please.
Right, Private Brocklesby. Let's see if you're willing to peel some spuds yet. Didn't you hear me? Shall I say it louder? Look, I've had about as much as I can take of you and your fucking conscience. You won't take up a rifle to fight the fucking Germans, and you won't take up a knife to peel some fucking spuds. What will you fucking do?
Nothing that promotes the war effort, I'm afraid. Oh! Please, don't hit me. Nothing will be achieved by... Rather than abusing me with the right language, rather than thumping me with your fist, can we not sit down calmly so I can explain to you what I believe and how I've arrived at... I don't believe you're permitted to shoot me. We're not on active service. This is against army regulations. I need to face a court-martial.
Fuck the court-martial. If you don't start peeling potatoes by the time I count to 3, you'll be pushing up fucking daisies instead. 1, 2...
Sergeant?
Stand aside. Yes, sir.
Is that rifle loaded? Well, is it?
No, sir.
Report to my office in 15 minutes. Private Brocklesby, I've some news for you. I've just received orders to send you and your chums to France. France? Can I let my family know I'm going, sir? I'm afraid not. There isn't time. Let me make one thing clear. Whether you like it or not, you men are here in France as part of the non-combatant corps. You won't be going anywhere near the front, but you are now deemed to be on active service, which means that if you keep up your course of disobedience and insubordination, you will be subjected to a court-martial, where, should you be found guilty, the maximum penalty will be applied. The commanding officer then says something extraordinary. I'm going to give you 24 hours to think it over. You're at liberty to do as you like. Go into Boulogne, visit a restaurant, go to the beach if you wish. The beach? Did he say we can go to the beach? But when you come back, I expect you all to have come to your senses. For God's sake, ask yourselves, is this protest of yours really worth losing your lives over? Hey! Right, now listen, lads. We've had a grand day out, but the fact is, we're up against it. You heard what the commanding officer said, and you know what the maximum penalty is if we continue to disobey. Oh, Bert, they won't shoot us. They're just bluffing, man. How can you be sure? I don't see why we have to refuse every little order anyway. I mean, if we agree to march in step, we're not helping to kill anyone, are we? We need to be consistent. But these are trivial things. Surely we should make a distinction between orders that have a direct bearing on the fighting and those that clearly don't. Be absolute. Refuse them all. Well, I don't fancy being shot, and that's a fact. They're not going to shoot us, man. There'd be a right uproar back home. But nobody back home knows where we are, do they, Norman? Then we should write, alerting them to what's going on. Do you think the censor would allow any such letter through? Well, what about one of these then? What is it, Norman? Field service postcard. Got it from a soldier. Only thing you can write on it is your name. But they've got all these options you can cross out, like, I am quite well, or I am being sent down to the base. Then there's a bit about receiving a letter. Well, that doesn't apply to us, does it? The options being, I have received no letter from you lately or for a long time. Let me have a look at it. What are you thinking, Bert? What are you writing? Wait. There. Oh, no, you've nearly obliterated the whole lot. What good's that? Just read it out, Norman. Quietly. The bit that's left. I am being sent to B. And the other bits. How long? How long? That doesn't make sense, man. Bert, are you planning on posting this? Because if we can't work it out, no one back home will be able to. Oh, come on, chaps, engage your brains. I've got it! I am being sent to Boulogne. Shh. I am being sent to Boulogne. Only hope they're as quick as you back home, eh, Howard? Else we're in real trouble. We're not in trouble, man. All that talk of maximum penalty, he was just bluffing like... You don't know that, Norman! Sorry. But if he was bluffing, what we've got to decide before we go back to camp is whether we're prepared to call his bluff. Whether we're prepared to take this all the way to the last ditch. Well, are we?
Fire!